Erica?
Tony?
How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Good. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. You heading to the Amway?
Yes.
That works for me. Although, from what I've been told, it's pretty dead downtown right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's alright. Give you a chance to explore a little bit.
Exactly. See, it'll give you a chance to explore before all the crazy drunkards come out.
Right. Very cool.
And we're about 23 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
We'll be there right about 6 o'clock. I've given this exact trip many a time. So
Have you?
Yeah, so I kind of know it, like, oh.
Nice, I suppose. You stay busy with Uber?
Oh yeah, it stays pretty busy. I mean, like the summertime is the slow time,
Okay.
and so a large portion of the passengers that take Uber are college students,
Okay.
and obviously colleges are not in session right now,
Right.
so it makes it slower. And so when you drive daytime, like this is considered daytime driving, obviously,
Okay.
or early evening,
Okay.
you tend to be able to do all right money-wise. Because at nighttime, it's just almost non-existent. I mean, it'll still get a little busy in Grand Rapids tonight, but like I live in Holland,
Okay.
and so if my girlfriend's like, "Oh, you should come home for dinner," if I go home for dinner, I'll eat dinner, and then I'll turn on the app, and I'll probably stay down there the rest of the night because they recently launched Uber in like Holland and Grand Haven, Muskegon, and all the way down to the state line.
Okay.
And luckily, I mean, people aren't driving home drunk now, so that works out. I mean, it doesn't get like as busy as a normal Uber city would,
Right.
but it stays busy enough. It's like one trip after the other just doesn't surge, which is fine because there's 17 miles between like Holland and Saugatuck,
Okay.
and that's where their trips are always going. So it works out. You know, just very long trips. You get plenty of time to know your passengers. I love the long trips. I get to know all my passengers.
So you probably have passengers from all over. Like me, I went from Nebraska today.
Nebraska. That place still exists. I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on now. You might have to stop right here.
Nebraska.
Yes.
Whereabouts in Nebraska?
North Central Nebraska.
North Central Nebraska.
So pretty much 3 hours from anywhere.
3 hours from anywhere.
Yeah. So if you want a strip mall or if you want city life, I'm 3 hours from anywhere.
Oh wow. So you're like in the middle of nowhere.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But I bet you it's a nice place.
It's beautiful.
Oh, that's all that matters. See.
Yeah. So this whole driving stuff is not. I mean, anything less than 3 hours is like a quick trip.
Fair enough.
Today I left home at 5 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
So I've been. Granted, it's only 20 to 5 back home, but you know that's still 12 hours.
That's only Central Time.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
wow.
Yep. So yeah, once west of Chicago. That's kind of where the line is. People will say, well, it's this east or west east of Chicago. Well,
Well, it's kind of like a jagged line because
Yeah.
in certain parts of Indiana, like you'll be in the Eastern time zone and then you'll be in Central. And my girlfriend found that out when we went down to Chicago because the time changes,
right,
like as you're riding along the lakeshore.
right,
And-
kind of right in Chicago. So,
Yeah.
so I say, Chicago is the divider. So
Okay.
just kind of makes it easy.
So are you here on business or?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
I don't know if you've transported anybody. Are you familiar with what NEHA is? No. Okay. Okay. So it's the National Environmental Health Association.
Okay.
So that deals with inspections from like water, sewer, daycare,
Okay.
manufacturing, air, that kind of stuff. So we have our national conference is this week
Okay.
at the plaza.
At the Amway?
At the Amway.
Okay.
Yep. So, and I am from the Nebraska chapter. I'm our president of the association. So, I'm here just representing.
So you're like
chapter.
President Neha.
Right. So, yeah, Nebraska. So it'll be fun. So they have a conference basically every year it's east or west of
Okay.
the Mississippi. So 2 years ago we were down in Orlando.
All right.
Last year, another girl and I kind of trade off
Okay.
going.
So kind of like no matter what, you're always getting to travel at least once a year.
Right. So last year it was in San Antonio.
Okay.
So then now this year we're back east of the Mississippi, so we're in Grand Rapids.
There you go.
So
Maybe next year you'll be in California,
yeah,
Or-
California.
or like Oregon, or
Right.
Washington, or Arizona,
Right.
or New Mexico, or Las Vegas.
See, Vegas. I can definitely do Vegas.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like you could do Vegas and just only have sock money.
Right.
No other money, only sock money.
Right.
Otherwise,
So the best part about this trip is, it's a working trip. So, the only thing I pay for is if I want to buy a souvenir or something. So,
well, you are in the beer capital, so if you drink beer,
oh yes. So local brews downtown. I mean,
I would recommend Founders.
Founders. Okay.
It's about a mile from where you're at,
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah.
it's
That ain't no big deal.
you can either walk it or you can take Ubers.
Right. Well, 10 minutes on foot.
Right. Yeah, it's literally just a few minutes. It's not super long. If you're, let's say there's Founders, I would recommend New Holland Brewery, which is another very good brewery that the original one is in Holland, and it was like sistered out as another company, but they changed the name in Grand Rapids. They call it the Knickerbocker.
Knickerbocker.
Yeah, the
Okay.
the Knickerbocker, more
Okay.
up to standard with the college kids.
Right.
If you're more into like the college kind of lifestyle of partying, like in a dance club, there's Tavern on the Square. There's the Grand Woods Lounge, but you can just call it the Woods.
Okay.
And any driver with half a brain that's been driving for more than 2 weeks, they know where these places are.
Nice.
Like literally. And if you're looking for the dive bar scene, there are tons.
Yeah,
Tons
not
of
so
them.
much. Not so much the dive bars.
Well, some of the dive bars though are very nice.
Well, that's true.
They're very enjoyable, but I would say if you want to taste very good custom brews, I would recommend Founders, and their food is really good too. So
Okay. Let's see. A couple months ago, I was down in Raleigh
okay,
for some more classes, and we went to a couple of the local brew pubs down there. So I'm all about trying the local brews because I can go anywhere and get a Budweiser.
That is true.
Or a whatever Michelob.
Well, if you really want to stick out to all your friends at the convention, go to Steel Cat, and it's called Steel Cat, one word. All their names of their drinks. I mean, it's not beer, so it's like liquor, and but they're all like animal names, like for cats, like Siamese gut turner, or whatever they call them. I don't drink liquor. I drink beer, so
Right.
I have no idea what they're called, but I have seen their menu a couple of times, and it's all cat names, and it tells you what's in the drink sometimes.
I'm all about trying, a new liquor here and there, but for the most part, hey, I'm a Midwest girl. I'm beer.
When I was a teenager with all of my buddies, like we had a suicide. We just filled a tub full of any alcohol we could find.
Right.
And that was a legitimate suicide because you did not know what you were drinking. Like it was
Everybody brought a bottle and everybody
That's
dumped
right.
it in.
Exactly, and everybody submerged their head, and you just everybody threw up too. Like
You just went with it.
Yeah, you just went with it. At 14 years old, and when all the parents are gone for the weekend, that's what you do.
Right.
And it worked out. I wouldn't do that now.
Right. Back then, it was fun while it lasted. Now, not quite so much.
Well, like I picked up a guy just a couple weeks ago, and he's like, we were doing trash can at my buddy's house. I was like, oh dude, that's nothing. I was like, that is nothing at all. And I tell him about this. Like, dude, how did you not die? And I was like, well, you have to know when not to drink anymore. I was like, and usually it's when you throw up continuously for like 3.5 minutes from the god-awful amounts of alcohol you're consuming at that point in time.
It tasted better going down.
It was, that's I told him, I was like, man, when I was 14, I was really dumb. I was like, and all my friends were really dumb too. I was like, but we lived in a different time then. I was like, and see, it was okay because we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have Facebook. I was like, MySpace was still popular then.
Right. And, I had some friends that actually quit Facebook because MySpace was so cool. And it was like not even 6 months later that MySpace
Even though it tanked, like the dude that owned MySpace, like he made it out like a bandit. Like he sold it for like $10 billion.
Right, and then 6 months later, it was done.
And it was great too, because I was like, man, like, because people were calling him a loser and stuff, like on tweets, like on Twitter, they're like, oh, you're such a loser, guy couldn't maintain MySpace. Like, dude, he's like, I was able to retire before I was 30.
Right.
Literally retired off of one payment.
Right. Why not?
Exactly. Like he got in and he got out. That's
and that's the way, with business. This is business.
Yeah.
You got to know the market. You got to see what's coming.
Oh yeah.
And when MySpace started blowing up, or Facebook started blowing up.
Well, that was the thing. Like, like with Facebook, like I remember I was one of the later ones to jump onto that. It took me a while to get MySpace. Like I was like, oh, I don't have MySpace.
See, I never had MySpace. I just couldn't get on that bandwagon. I said, I've already got one social media site. Why do I need another one?
Exactly.
So,
Why do you?
I don't know. Call me old school, but I still don't tweet.
I
do it.
I had a Twitter account back when it first launched, and I was like, oh, this thing's gonna die off in like a year, maybe. I was like, it won't get any type of activity, but it does. It gets tons and tons of activity. Mm-hmm. 99% of the stuff that people are tweeting about is stupid. Like 140 characters or less, you have to, point A to point B, you have to condense. Like that's start to finish, you have to condense it. That's the only thing about it. And some people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to post a montage of tweets and put continued. And I'm like, oh, no, just get it all out, 140 characters. But then again, I'm so old school, I still write stuff down on paper, so,
That's okay, I do too. So.
Like, I think of like some of the other drivers are like, oh yeah, I got my tablet to do this and this and this. And I was like, oh dude, I for arrival times at the airport, I still write them down. I'm like, it's like, yeah. I was like, nothing is more reliable than pen and paper until your pen breaks.
Right. Well, but seriously though, I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
And just in case, I've got my tablet in here, and I've got this one sitting there, and I got this one here, and so I'm all technologied up.
Right.
This one controls my Pandora, which I don't even have Bluetooth in my car, but I got a little FM transmitter in the back. The drunk kids always ask what that is. They're like, what is that? And I was like, well, I was like, I could do something really condescending, or I could be like a real smartass, like, well, we could talk to your mom about what it is, but I'm just...
It's a nightlight.
Right, it's like, it's a total nightlight. Like, if you turn that knob, it turns on the nightlight. Although, I have nightlights. I ordered these from Wish.com.
Okay.
And they both glow in the dark. Like bright glow in the dark.
Okay.
Found that out last night when I was going to bed. Like I went like this to cover my face. I was like, what is that bright light in my face? And I was like, oh, it's on my wrist. And they were 99 cents. There was 8 of them. But the picture showed a black one. And I wanted the black one. That's all I wanted. I wanted the black one.
But nope.
They sent me white, green, pink, purple, red, yellow, orange. And I was like, no,
everything but the black.
Right, I was like, everything except for the one I wanted. And then, I don't know if you ever ordered anything from Wish.com, but everything's very cheap because it gets shipped out from China.
Yes, I have.
It took like 3 weeks to get these little things. I was like, I could have went to like Meijer and got these things for probably about the same price. But 99 cents and then like $1 for shipping. So I was like, all right, $2, I got 8 of them. So my girlfriend's kids all got one now. And
there you go.
I was like, all right. I was like, I just want the white and the green one then because I didn't get a black one. But yeah, like it's always like these are definite night lights. I was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna attract all the crazies now if I drive the bar crowd tonight. If I stay in Grand Rapids, they're like, oh, his wrists are glowing, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not your Uber driver. I've had passengers jump in my car and assume I was your driver, and I'm like, no, I'm not your driver.
Right.
I've also had people remember me like the next day. And that's actually, like, I'm super introverted outside of Uber.
Okay.
Like, I keep to myself. I can't do it. Like, I'm like, nope.
So how did you become an Uber driver then?
Well, I was in between, like, I was in the process of leaving my other job.
Okay.
And I was like, all right. I was like, what can I do? I was like, well, I'll check out this Uber thing. And my paychecks were getting smaller for my other job, so I was like, all right. I was like, well, I'll try it out part-time and stuff. I went from like 2 days of driving part-time to like instantly loved it. Like I loved it. I love the aspect, like the social aspect of it. I like driving. It's really fun. And when I'm driving, I'm very social. all of my passengers.
Right.
But as soon as I turn off the app, I'm like, nope, don't talk to nobody. And so, like, I had one guy recognize me in a gas station when I was getting gas, and I was like, no, I'm not your driver. And I remembered him because he was so drunk when I picked him up, taking him to a bar back. He believed, like, I had my Honda Civic, and he goes, hey man, what's your name? And I was like, oh, my name's Honda, jump in. And he bought it. Like, he's like, dude, what's your last name? I was like, Civic. He's like, dude, you're driving a Honda Civic. And I was like, I know, right? My parents had a great sense of humor. This guy believed it all the way through the trip.
Line and sinker.
Yeah, and as we're dropping him off, I was like, hey man, I was like, my name's really Tony. I was like, it's not Honda Civic. He goes, but you said I was like, my name's Tony. So I saw him the next day at the gas station. He goes, dude, he's like, you drive the Honda Civic. You said your name was Honda. And I was like,
totally missed the Tony part.
right. And so, like, all these people in line are, like, looking at me. I was like, yeah, bud, I was your driver last night. I was like, oh, you got me. What am I ever going to do? You got me.
Right.
And he's like, oh, dude, you going to be out tonight? And I was like, nope. I was like, I'm going to be not around. He's like, where are you going to be? And I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to be out of town. I was like, I'm just getting gas right now to go out of town. And he's like, oh, man, hopefully I'll see you again. And I was like, yeah, sure. Well, I was sharing that story with one of my passengers, and we were downtown. We were right over by the Amway Grand, and somebody, like, it was really warm, and all the windows were down, and an Uber driver pulls up next to me. He's like, hey, Tony. And I was like, what? And I peer out my window, and it was the Honda Civic passenger again. And I was like, he's like, dude, it's a Honda Civic. And then the guy in the back was like, oh my God. He's like, is he right? I was like, apparently I really stuck out to him about this Honda Civic thing. I was like, I'm surprised he remembered it with how intoxicated he was. That baffles my imagination, but stranger things have happened.
Yes.
But I always tell drivers, like, at the airport queue, which is at that Wendy's across from the airport, I always tell them, I was like, you gotta have fun with it. If you drive angry, like, it's not gonna benefit you, it's not gonna benefit the passengers, it's not gonna benefit anybody.
Well, you want to have fun with it.
Well, that's what I told him. I was like, last year we had a driver in Kalamazoo. He ended up killing me. And he was definitely unstable as is, but he did pass a background check. And so that raises some red flags. And so when passengers ask me about that, I was like, anybody can pass a background check. It's not that hard. I was like, it just means that he was doing stupid shit and he never got caught.
Right.
And I was like,
so how far is Kalamazoo then?
Kalamazoo from Grand Rapids is about 48 miles.
Okay. Well, I was in Kalamazoo, oh my gosh, 6 years ago?
Okay.
7 years ago? I mean, way before Uber.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for classes and stuff, I was at Kellogg.
Yeah, and then
Over there by Kellogg. We were downtown there. Just across from Kellogg. So.
But yeah, it's just.
I was talking to my sister-in-law. She lives in South Dakota.
Okay.
And Uber is not in South Dakota. Well, because we were talking, and I was like, hey, because she just went through a nasty divorce, 2 kids, he's an ass. So, big story there. But she doesn't have her kids every other weekend and every other week during the summer. So she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I go, well, maybe you should become an Uber driver. Because, you can work, you get off work at 5, you can work from like 6 to 11, or 6 to 1 on Friday and Saturday.
And that's the thing, like, I mean, there's a huge flexibility with it, and I think that's why I'm so drawn into it, I've been doing like self-employment, independent contractor type jobs since 2010, but I've always been a big fan of not really having a boss. And I had that idea when I was a kid because I watched my dad, break his back to be middle class, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that as I get older.
Right.
And so if I can drive around in my car with my AC blaring all day, I'm okay with that.
Right.
I have all the respect in the world for the men and women that do, put in 12, 13 hours at a factory and a shop, and they get their 401ks and everything, and that's great. But as long as they don't take away my license and let me drive, I will be driving passengers around. I will wear the thickest bifocals you've ever seen, but I can still drive people around. I love it. And that's the thing. I always tell drivers, I was like, you gotta have fun with it, because if you don't, then it'll just take like one little thing, and they'll end up, snapping on the passenger or doing something that's going to adversely affect them. I always tell them, I was like, no matter how, even if you get a passenger that's the biggest pain in the ass in the world, it's not worth giving up, your livelihood at that point, because
you're gonna run into that all the time.
oh yeah, and I told him that, I was like, I had a passenger one night, like I'm like a quarter Mexican, but I was raised with a bunch of white people. I'm the whitest Mexican guy you're ever gonna meet. And it was the night before the elections.
Okay.
And I picked up him and his wife, and he had way too much to drink, and he apparently felt that I was a beaner, and he called me a beaner, and I was like, hey, and I stopped in the middle of the road. I was like, Beaner says you need to get out of my car. And he goes, well, you can't do that. I was like, you want to bet? And I ended the trip, and I was like, get out of my car. I was like, because now I could beat you senseless. I was like, an Uber can't do anything to save you. And his wife kind of looked at me, and I was like, I'm sorry, sweetie, you should have kept a muzzle on your mutt. And she just kind of gave me that strange look. She's like, are you really doing... Oh, is it line closed? All right, we got line closed. We'll go up to next one here. But yeah, I told her, I was like, should have kept a muzzle on your mutt. And it's situations like that, I always tell drivers, I was like, you got to be willing to, kind of dirt off the shoulder. You got to just let it go off your shoulder, because otherwise you're gonna go crazy. And it doesn't benefit you. It doesn't benefit the passengers. And ultimately, that ride with that guy, it wouldn't have been worth beating him up. Yeah, I would have went to jail for a $10 ride. It wouldn't have been worth it, and
Well, and that's the thing too, is you have that freedom to say, I'm done.
Exactly.
It's get out.
Yeah, and I always like, if a passenger does start pushing my buttons, I've only ejected 2 passengers, and I've given like 3,500 rides. So I think it's a pretty good percentage of passengers that I've not kicked out.
Right.
And I always tell them, I was like, look, I will be your best friend on this ride. I was like, but as soon as you cross that threshold of, just joking around to, okay, I want to racially profile. I'm proud of my Mexican heritage, but I don't, not even my best friends call me that. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's not happening. Not in this car.
Right.
All right, let me grab that hatch for you.
Thank you.
And welcome to lovely downtown Grand Rapids.